Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom, peace, blessings, salutations to you, hopefully elect out there. Alright, and may the blessing of election be upon you, hopefully elect Akim and Akwath. Alright, you sincere believers, for real, because, what we're getting ready to come into, man, this is something that through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, when it comes to these devils, top wicked elites of the Edomites, which will be the so-called white people, the so-called Caucasians today. All right. The devil that the Bible speaks about, and I'm not talking about the spiritual demon Satan, all right, but his physical counterpart, all right, the Edomites, the Idumeans, like I said, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, through the blessing that was given to him, all right, the fatness of the earth, all right, everything that was given to him through Yahweh Shema Shai, he's had 3 kingdoms to perfect his craft, so to say. He's had 3 kingdoms to perfect his wickedness. All right. Start from the Greeks, which I'll just say, the original Greeks were Japhetic people. All right. They were Japhites. But knowing the nature of the devil, typically he conquers a land, and not only does he leave it at that, he takes on the name of the land that he conquers oftentimes. All right. And a top prime example of that today would be the fact that he's in the land of Israel right now. All right. Which that's a whole nother topic and lesson within itself. All right. Because clearly, if they were the original people that the Bible speaks about, the original Israelites, the original Jews that the Bible speaks about, clearly that land, there would be peace over there. There wouldn't be any type of fighting. All right. Or anything like that. Yahweh Shah would be here on earth right now, because according to prophecy, Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, he would be the one to, set the Jews or the Israelites. Yahweh Shah would be the one to take the Israelites and bring them over to that land and, set them up in the land, and there will be peace on earth. Well, clearly that's not the case right now. So, like I said, 3 kingdoms. This devil, these Idumeans, these Edomites had to perfect their craft, and we are in the time of them perfecting their craft. All right. We are in the time now where Esau has perfected his blessing. And it's, of course, carnal, and as I talked about before, and this video might get taken down. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to either upload it on my Odyssey or BitChute account, which, Lord willing, I remember to put the link in the description to whichever website I uploaded to. They're more than likely going to take this video down, just for the simple fact of this video that I got here, queued up, which ties into what I want to speak on through the spirit. Because like I said, what's coming down the pipes, what we are getting ready to enter into, like I said, the perfecting of Esau's blessing. All right. because we are in the time where, again, let me get this real quick in Daniel. Daniel chapter 12, verse 12:4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. And that's one of many signs, all right, of knowing that we are in the end. Because for a long time, the understanding of this book, the understanding of these deep mysteries and dark sayings, they were sealed up. We didn't have the understanding, because Daniel, he was one of the major prophets. There's a lot of deep mysteries, all right, to this day that a lot of people try to, scholars and these fake appointed Christians, pastors, so on and so forth, they're still butchering it, all right, getting the breakdowns wrong. But through the spirit and power, mercy of Yahweh Shem Shah, we have the understanding. Start with our apostles, all right, from Daniel 11, Daniel 7, Daniel 8, Daniel 2. We have we have that understanding now, all right, because again, for a period in time, this understanding would be sealed off, but now the seals of the book have been loosened and we have the understanding, all right. But reading on, it says, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased, all right. So that's the point. Knowledge shall be increased, because like I said, when it comes to this whole New World Order, and I'm just going to kind of speak expressly. I'm going to speak a little loosely, because like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and upload this on BitChute or Odyssey, one of the two. All right, because on YouTube, you definitely gotta speak in code, and but whatever. So pertaining to this New World Order, all right, or Esau's New World Order, which this is something that they've been trying to accomplish, all right. Nevertheless, they've never had the technology to do so. Well, now we're in the time they have the technology, and for a long time, for decades, because what we're coming into, this isn't something that just happened within recent weeks, months, even years. All right. Esau, like I said, he's been planning this for a long time. He's been planning this for decades. He's been planning this. All right. But it's just now that he has the technology to perform it. All right. His technology, this is what he trusted. All right. Through the power of his technology, this is how he's going to deceive many. Through the power of his technology, this is how he's going to play the role like he's the Most High. And a lot of people are going to fall into the snare. A lot of people are going to, get down with the program. Because through the power of technology, Esau, man, he's performed a lot of unprecedented things that man has never seen before. Such as, let me go to this real quick. And this is spirit, because I only had like 2 precepts I really wanted to go into. But as I always say, the spirit is going to do what it do. So Revelation 13. Matter of fact, Revelation 13, I'm going to start at verse 12. And he exercised this. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. All right, so this beast, and we touched on this past Saturday at the camp, because again, through the power of this man, his technology, all right, no other nation can compete with Esau Edom. No other nation can really compete with the so-called white man. So that's why Yahweh Ba'Shem Shah, Yahweh being the name of who the world ignorantly calls God, Yahweh Shah being the name of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. And contrary to proper belief, Jesus, all right, he's an idol. I have to constantly reiterate that point. You know, Jesus is an idol. He's an actual man walking the earth today. And when the true Messiah comes back, this character, this man, this idol that everyone calls Jesus, he's going into slavery. He's going to be one of the first batches, one of the first fruits of slavery. When when the real Messiah shows up. All right, but nevertheless, the power that the so-called white man, what he possesses through his technology, this is something that, you know, a lot of these things, this is some things that a lot of people have never witnessed before, you know. So that's why, hey, at the end of the day, it's basically because, you know, you have a saying, you know, black on black crime. Well, really, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to the taking down and the end of Esau Edom, the so-called white man's kingdom, is going to come through his own. Is going to come through his own lineage. It's going to be Edomite on Edomite, you know, fighting within. All right, because real quick, when you read verse 2, matter of fact, verse 1 in Revelation 13:1, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. So basically, this beast system, all right, it started with the Greeks. You know, not to get too all into it, but it started with the Greeks, all right, which were Edomites. And like I said, the original Greeks were Japhites, all right. But Esau, being who he is, the devil, typically he takes over a land, all right. He conquers a nation of people, and he steals their identity. So you can even say the so-called Greeks, all right. But nevertheless, this beast system, which today the beast system consists of the EU, NATO, which America is the spearhead of this beast system. This is that horde that sitteth upon the scarlet-colored beast. All right. But nevertheless, it started with the Greeks, which were Edomites, so-called Caucasians. All right. So when you read verse 2, it says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard." Now, you know, when you go into it, again, this beast system, it started with the Greeks, like I said, and this leopard going into the Greeks, all right, and more specifically, in detail, Alexander. Some say the Great, but, you know, those of us here, you know, we say Alexander the Creep, all right, the freak, because that's what he was, you know. And again, not to get all too into it, you know. But nevertheless, because even Alexander the Creep, he was known for wearing leopard skin, you know. But like I said, that's, you know, not to get all into it. But nevertheless, this is where this beast system originally started from. All right. Then you go into the Romans, which were Edomites as well. All right. And again, the original Romans, they were Japhites as well. You know. And that was the second, because like I said, Esau, he had 3 kingdoms, 3 empires to perfect his craft, to perfect his wickedness. All right. And the Roman Empire was the second, you know, time Esau had to, you know, rule, from the Greeks to the Romans. All right. And what would be the third? Well, it would be this in today's day, in age, or this empire known as America. You see? But nevertheless, again, verse 2, it says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard." Talking about the Greeks. This is where this beast system started. This is where it originated. It says, "And his feet were as the feet of a bear." All right. And the feet, they represent the end of something. All right. And the end of this beast system, it would, you know, because this goes into the Russians, which are Russian Edomites, you know, because Esau, he gives himself different names and titles to, you know, pretty much throw off those that don't have any understanding, right? You know, you might hear Esau putting the blame on the Australians. You might hear Esau putting the blame on the French. You know, but nevertheless, you know, all these cats, they're Edomites. Nevertheless, you know, them Russians, because that's the new boogeyman right now. All right, the Russians, but nevertheless, they're Edomites as well. So with that being said, you know, like I said, because it's going to be Edomite on Edomite crime. Like I said, you know, no one, as far as what Esau's got, the technology that he's got, the power that he possesses, no other nation can, you know, combat Esau except other Edomites, except Esau himself. So the only one that's going to be outside of Yahushua, because listen, Yahushua, that's, you know, that's a different story, you know. But as far as carnality goes and who can compete with this beast, you know, no one can really compete with this beast other than other Edomites. And it's going to be them Russians. Yahweh Shem Shah is going to use Russia, the Russian Edomites, as a main tool in this beast system being destroyed. You see, because again, just to further prove the point, show the point that as far as Esau and his technology and his power, you know, it's great. Like I said, this is a power that the earth has never seen before, outside of the power of Yahweh Shem Shai. You know. So hey, with that being said, man, through the power of his technology, hey, you know, Esau, man, he's got some things. This devil's getting ready to come down with that great rap. He's getting ready to make his moves. And it, like I said, this is something that happened overnight. You know, this is something that he's been planning and plotting for a long time, decades. You know, it's just now we're in the time where he has the power to execute the thoughts and the intents of his heart. You know, what he wants to do. You see? And a part of what inspired me to do this was the fact that, you know, out there, what's going on out there in Hawaii, there's been a lot of reports, alleged reports, and you know, I'm not even gonna. I was going to originally show some of the videos, but I'll just speak on them through the Spirit. You know, some of us have spoken on these things in the past. As far as these direct energy weapons, the Jews, right, which is nothing but concentrated fire, which actually, when you read in this chapter, in Revelation 13, I think I was reading that. I was getting to that point. In Revelation 13, when you jump back down to verse 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. All right, again, talking about the Roman Empire, because again, Esau, he's had 3 empires to perfect his wickedness: the Greeks and the Romans in America. All right, and America is nothing but a revised Roman Empire. All right, and the symbolism is all around us. You can look at certain monuments, building structures. You know, the back of the dollar bill. All right, you know, from the Roman numerals, and you know, there's a number of symbolisms that link America to ancient Rome. All right, because again, America is nothing but a revised Roman. Is nothing but a revised version of the Roman Empire. All right. You see, that's why, you know, you hear a lot of people say, man, hey, this history repeats itself, was because it's the same spirits coming back. All right, through reincarnation and through regeneration. So those same spirits, you know, back then, they're back today. All right, the same believers back then, they're back today. The same believers of Yahushua that were back then, they're back today. All right, those same Roman Edomites, a lot of them back then, they're back. A lot of them are back then today. So, you know, no new thing under the sun, as the scriptures say. So that's why verse 12 again. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Because again, You know, just this particular part of Rome fell. I always get this, because you know you had East Rome, and you had Western Rome. All right, one part was ruled by the Edomites, one part was ruled by the Jake. You know, so when this particular part of the Edomites fell, you know, and I touched on this before, in a video I did a few days ago, maybe a week ago or so. Because typically when you fall, you're able to, you know, or typically when you stumble, you know, you're able to kind of regain your balance. All right, because like I said, Rome fell where the Edomites ruled. They stumbled, so to say. All right, but hey, they're back today. You know, you see, and that's why I said, like I said, it said whose deadly wound was healed. You know, because hey, this particular part of Rome, I believe it was Eastern Rome, and they stumbled, because it talks about that even with when Jake ruled, or Slaki. It even talks, you know, when Jake when we stumbled, you know, because typically when you stumble, when you fall, oftentimes, you know, you catch a serious injury, you might hit your head. Oftentimes, you know, you might get an injury that you can't come back from. You know, you might fall and hit your head, and whatever the case may be, you might catch a certain injury that ain't no coming back from. But typically when you stumble, you know, you're able to regain your balance. So, you know, Israel, we stumbled, but we didn't necessarily fall. Well, hey, Esau in this particular part of the Roman Empire, they stumbled, but they didn't necessarily fall, because hey, they're back today. You see? So when you read verse 13, it says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men." And you see, this is the point. All right, because touching on these direct energy weapons, all right, these direct energy weapons, you know, if you don't know what they are, like I said, some of us, we've done videos on them in the past. Look it up, look them up, you know, because this is what's being said took place. Like I said, there's a lot of allegations, all right, that people were seeing these beams of fire, and this, you know, this is going into when these bombs dropped, all right, on so-called Japanese, all right, you know, which they're the biblical Ammonites, are the so-called Japanese, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and them, all right, those the fat man, the little boy, right, you know, because that's pretty much what established America as the world superpower, all right, because this is, again, this is a power that the earth, for the most part, has never seen before, when those bombs were dropped. So this is what established the world, this is what established America and Esau as the top world superpower, all right. And how was that accomplished? It was accomplished through the power of Esau Edom, his technology. You see, fire falling from heaven. You see, so going back to these direct energy weapons and these allegations. Like I said, I wanted to play some videos, but the Spirit is telling me it's not even worth it, because, you know, it's all allegations, and you know, just watching some of the videos, you know, it's like, yeah, you know, because, you know, you got things like the Project Blue Beam, and I mean, you know, it is what it is, you know. Nevertheless, I'll just say this, me personally, just looking at the videos, because, you know, and that's the Spirit, because some of this video that I got queued up here, all right, and this is a video, and that's why I say they might take this video down, and that's why I'm just going to go ahead and upload it, either BitChute or Odyssey, all right, you know, because you could just watch a certain footage from what's going on out there in Hawaii, all right, you could just tell, man, like, I'll just say it, like, this wasn't no ordinary wildfire, you know. And this wasn't, for the most part, man, this wasn't just some ordinary wildfire, man. I'll just say it like that. Just like I said, watching the videos, and because you see certain videos, you got people, they got their drones, you get the aerial view and whatnot, and tell me how you got footages and videos where houses are completely leveled, right? You got cars that are, the metal's all burnt up, rims, and just the metal melted into the ground, but yet and again, like I said, you got the houses all burnt up, and you look into like these houses, a lot of the houses, the ones that are standing, at least, it looked like they and that, like I said, that's the spirit, because in this video, it gives examples of these attacks, so to say, right? And you can clearly tell that, because oftentimes when certain of these things take place, they try to blame it on so-called Mother Nature, right? Oh, it was a lightning strike, or whatever the case may be. But you can clearly see, like, it was, because if you pay attention to the details, all right, if you pay attention to the details, you can clearly see that some of these houses, man, it looked like something came in from the top, and the roofs of some of these houses, they were caved in. It looked like something impacted. It looked like something hit the roof, because you could clearly see that the metal from the roof is coming inward, as if something hit the roof from the top, which would cause the metal to come down inward, like a miniature bomb or something, just to be frank with it, like a some sort of a missile, or some type of directed heat source, or some type of direct energy weapon, was a source of the impact. All right, it was the source of of this ground zero, where of this impact, because you can clearly see the source of impact, the point of impact. Like I said, clearly everything is let me not jump the gun. That, like I said, it's the spirit, because that's why I got this video played here. And for those that don't know, this is a video, and that's why I've been saying, like, they might take this video down, because this is a video by Linda Thompson. All right, you can look this up. It's still on YouTube for now, but it's called America Under Siege. All right, it's by Linda Thompson. And in this particular documentary, she brings out a lot of good information, detailed information. All right, and that's why I just threw the spirit, because, like I said, this is something that they've been planning. This is something that they've been planning for a long time. All these beta tests, all these test runs from the and I gotta choose my words carefully. From the Waco, Texas. All right, all type of and it's no coincidence why they offed her. She was definitely offed. All right, they silenced her. They deleted her. But even in this video, she goes into certain individuals that were deleted. All right, but nevertheless, just through the spirit, we're gonna flow. I'm gonna play some of this. I'm gonna play 5 or 6. I'm gonna play quite. I'm gonna play quite a few minutes of this video. Again, it's by Linda Thompson. It's called America Under Siege. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and play some of this.
We have found that these are generally CIA operations, and you can usually find a railroad and metal fabricating plant nearby these sites. Mike and Carol Ben of Dallas.
And Slovakia, I don't know, because I might have already, or maybe I didn't, but I think I've already passed the point in this video where she was mentioning, and again, this is technology that, because take into consideration, all right, consider this, whatever type of information, whatever type of technology, because like what over the past year, what's kind of been in the talks right now, right? If you've been paying attention, what's kind of been in the talks right now is these robot dogs, and you got these basically these Megan type dolls, these robot dolls, but again, you got to take into consideration the information that they put out there, all right, the technology that they put out there, because even when it comes to these direct energy weapons, this is something that they've, this is something that's come up in within the past some amount of years, all right, and you got to take it into consideration, man. Whatever they put out there, all right, whatever they show you, whatever they put in their video games, in their movies, all right. Just know and understand that this is something that they've been had years in advance, all right? Years in advance. They did something, really what they put out for the public to know, man. This is, it might be news. It might be news to us, but it's really old news. It's really old technology for the top of the elite. So, like I said, with that being said, when you watch this full video, and I encourage you to watch it, oftentimes the apostles, they reference these videos, and this is one of many videos that the apostles have referenced, many times, all right. America Under Siege by Leonard Thompson, especially the Apostle Gabar, he often references this video, all right. And one of the things that they mentioned in this video, going into these helicopters, these like these Black Hawk type helicopters, man. And just the point I want to make with that is the technology, the technology, because that's the point that I want to stress, all right? Because the technology that they possess, and this is back then. We're talking about 2, 3, 4 decades ago, And if they had this back then, we can only imagine what they possess now. We can only imagine. Well, hey, we're about to see it. Believe it or not, we're about to witness it. We're about to see it firsthand. So that's why, hey, like I said in the beginning of this show, man, hey, man, because we're going to need the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai to the hopefully elect, to your hopefully elect Akim and Akwaf, man, that are sincerely sincere in this thing, man. Hey, it's, but hey, as some of us say, it only makes sense, fret not, because it only makes sense in order for the spiritual power to come. All right, in order for us to need the miracle, we have to be in a position to where we need the miracle in the first place. Because what Esau's coming with, man, what Esau's got, man, in store. Listen, again, this is something that the world has never seen before, and it sounds far-fetched, but hey, that's exactly what it is. It is far-fetched, believe it or not. What you see in them sci-fi movies, listen, Esau, like I said, this is what he puts out. And if he puts this out, if he puts something out, just know that he had this type of technology 20, 30, 40 years. This is old news to him. It might be new to us, but he's been had this, man. It's old news to him. But without further ado,
Texas have gathered 17 million signatures to impeach Bill Clinton. They've been visited by the Secret Service, who told them, "You have an awfully nice home to be doing what you're doing."
Just shortly before complete daylight on the morning of January 11th, 1994, I was jerked out of bed, completely brought awake by a tremendous noise coming down over our home of the military helicopters. And I pulled down the shades and looked out the window, and all I saw was this over top of our house, across the street, and down. And then I heard it go away. So I, being dazed from being sound asleep that early in the morning and being jerked out of bed, awake by that noise, I thought, well, maybe the fog has echoed the noise somehow and it's thousands of feet in the air or something. I don't know. So I just went back to bed. Looked at the clock when I laid back down. It was like 6:45. And 15 minutes later, I was jerked back out of bed by the noise of fire engines coming down the street. And I thought, well, at this point, I got to put my pants on, go outside and see what in the world is going on here, because there's something drastically wrong. By the time I got outside, it was completely daylight. About 89% of the fog had lifted. They were running hoses over the house and into the house, and the people were running out. The child that was in the house was running out. Found out later that the mother had already left and was coming back to pick up this child a little bit later. So no one was hurt in the fire, but their home was just completely gutted out. And the flames coming out the roof and everything. And I never associated this with the helicopter at that particular moment. We were out in the street, a bunch of the neighbors were out in the street, standing by the fire trucks, and just having the typical conversations you have in a situation like this. Well, what happened? What's going on? And I asked one of the neighbors, did you hear military helicopters down over our houses this morning, right before daylight? And one of the women said, yes, I sure did, and it sure scared me.
So just real quick, all right, because at least to me, all right, just to me personally, it somewhat sounds somewhat familiar to what's going on out there in Hawaii and to the alleged reports, all right, of people not only hearing certain things, but they've seen, and some people actually caught certain of these things on video, all right. When I say these things, like I said, man, just to be frank with it, whether they take the video down or not, man, the hell with it, all right. These direct energy weapons, basically the fire coming down from heaven, as I read in Revelation 13, because what he's getting ready to explain, all right, like he was saying, he heard basically these helicopters, all right, he saw the cloud of smoke, whatever. He didn't think nothing of it. Well, as he woke up again, he was, he woke up to fire trucks and so on and so forth, and he's seen basically, houses on fire, all right, and the cleanup crew and all that, right? And, like you said, he didn't really put the two and two together, but, eventually it clicked, it kind of came together for him, right? So, moving on.
And I thought, well, gee, that's incredible. So it's not something I was just imagining. The day went on, and within an hour, I wasn't really watching this as a problem with the federal government this time. So we went on with our daily activity of packing mail here, and handling the phone calls, and talking to radio stations, and on and on and on. We noticed that six or eight white frame cars, like medium-sized Chevrolets, drove up in the neighborhood. Men are getting out in suits with cellular phones in their ears. So we went on with the day's activity at 6:30 that night. I was up at 7-Eleven on Tuesday evening now, on the 11th. One of our other neighbors across the street was there, and while we were in line, I said, isn't it terrible what happened this morning with the fire? And he says, yeah, and he says, when I got home from work at 4:30, he says, I went down there, and the fire marshal didn't know what had caused the fire. But he says, one of the guys, the insurance people, now we're talking about these people in the gray suits with the cellular phones, walked up to him and with the voice and said that the fire started by lightning. And he said...
And you see, like I said earlier, oftentimes certain things happen, and, oftentimes we're quick to dismiss it, but through the process of elimination, in the process of time, certain things just, certain things just don't add up. More and more you start putting pieces together, right? And that's what, like I said, I'm gonna play some more of this throughout, and more and more, just because whoever these guys were, and at this time, remember, this is like back in the 90s, so It was totally different back then to what it is now, but basically the narrative, like I always talk about Esau and his narrative. He always has a narrative. That's one of his tools of deception. That's one of his sorceries, his narratives. So basically they try to sweep this under the rug as just being a house fire, because again, he heard this noise, he saw the cloud of smoke, right? Didn't think much of it, went back to sleep, woke up later, right? Come to find out the house was on fire, and the narrative was that, hey, such and such's house caught on fire, right? Well, let's play some more of this.
I thought that was kind of funny because there was no rain or lightning this morning. I says, well, there sure wasn't any rain or lightning this morning. That house couldn't have been hit by lightning. And all of a sudden, a little alarm started going off in my head that we had a real problem here. And obviously, that was meant for us. And so we're totally alarmed by this time. We know that there is a real problem. We know that military helicopter from looking at the roof now, because they got the fire out right away in one end of the house. One end of the house, you can tell from the pictures that you've already seen earlier in this tape, the roof is totally burnt off. But at the other end of the house, in the bedroom end of the house, you can see that the round holes were, something obviously entered that house.
And that's what I was saying earlier with what's going on out there in Hawaii. All right. If you pay attention to the aerial footages and the videos, just speaking as a man, and from the alleged reports, and just watching certain other videos that have been coming out, you see these points of entry, and just the way that, because like I said, some of these houses, the ones that are at least, standing up at least, the ones that are still standing at least, and you just see how certain things are melted a certain way, right? Because a lot of houses are destroyed, cars, vehicles, a lot of metal, certain things are destroyed a certain way. But tell me how, like I said, when you watch certain of these footages and videos, man, it doesn't make sense, because how do you still have the grass? You still have some greenery. You still have some trees standing and grass, and, it just doesn't make sense, so just to put that out there.
Fire. And there's just no question about it. What I'm seeing at the beginning of this video.
So check this out.
That was a segment of home video from Mike, so we couldn't do anything with the soundtrack you just heard, but we think you'll find these pictures very convincing.
As you can see with the aerial on the roof, it'd be impossible for this house to be hit by lightning without burning the ground wires to that aerial. I don't know if we can see the ground wires past the aerial or not. I'll get in as close as I can. There you go. There's a ground wire running down the side of that pole. And that would definitely be burning in half if the house were hit by enough lightning to start it on fire as bad as this.
Right.
With holes in the roof and everything. And we can see that that's not so.
That shit would be fried.
Of course, the way it's burnt out right here in this area is the kitchen area of the house. And then back here to the left is the garage area of the home. And right in that area to the right of the garage door there, back into the garage, is the utility room. And that's why they have changed it from the house was hit by lightning, because they forgot to take the aerial down.
So see, because information came out, and some people come to their common senses. So that's why, hey, again, Esau, oftentimes, because he's getting at this point where we're at right now, 2023. Things it's just to a point where Esau, he's sloppy with it. I've said this several times. Like, it's just to a point now where Esau, he's just doing anything. And it's just like it's getting harder and harder for him to cover up his tracks, because, he's getting sloppy with it. Right. So this is why oftentimes they have to change their narratives, and like you said, man.
End of the garage is the utility room, and that's why they have changed it from the house was hit by lightning, because they forgot to take the aerial down. But they're saying that the fire was started by the hot water heater.
This is the room where the water heater was located.
So check this out.
There is no damage whatsoever to any of the walls or the inside studs. There's no scorching of any of the floors or walls. Even the roof has no damage from the water heater. No damage to the roof could have come from this room. Going to the outside rooms, there's very little damage to those rooms as well. The fire in this house could not have started with the water heater.
Or a lightning strike.
So Mike checked the electrical system to see if the fire could have been started by an electrical fire, or a lightning strike as the inspector originally claimed. If this had been an electrical or lightning fire,
You see that?
we would expect to see damage to the electrical boxes. Yet there is none. In fact, there is no damage to any of the interior walls as there would have been with an electrical fire. As you saw earlier, the antenna and wiring on the roof were intact too. In fact, the only fire damage, as you can see on these rafters, is from the outside on the roof down. Any place there is burning, it's from the top down.
So you see that? Because that's what I was saying before. All right. From the alleged reports out there in Hawaii, because I'm gonna just put this out there as well. From the alleged reports, all right, it's all rumors and speculation for what they want to do. Because for those that don't know, man, when it comes to this, a part of these the agendas of these top wicked elites, man, what they want to do, you know, as far as these quote unquote smart cities, all right. Because, you know, you watch certain of these movies, man. What's this one movie? It's in the back of my mind. It's right there on the tip of my tongue. And you have a Total Recall. That's it. Total Recall. You know, you got the most recent one with Colin Farrell. And I believe you have the older version with if I'm not mistaken, what's this Edomite man? Yeah, he's definitely an Edomite. God damn, that shit shows you how much, you know, these Edomites don't mean shit. Cause he's a big time name in Hollywood, man. What's this guy's name? Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I believe he did one too. You know, maybe back in the 80s, 90s. I don't know. I'm a 90s baby, so you know, I think he did one in the 80s or the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. But you watch these certain movies and these TV shows with these futuristic movies, right? You know, well, hell, even one for the more so newer generation. You know, you got the movie called the Fifth Element. You know, that was a favorite of mine growing up with Bruce Willis. You know, the Fifth Element. You know, they show these futuristic cities, flying cars. Believe it or not, man, like I said before, Esau, hey, it sounds far-fetched, but this is stuff that Esau, he's really trying to accomplish this stuff. These are things that he's really trying to do. And it's being said, more rumors and speculation, you know, basically, you know, because they're saying that the damages that took place here and out there and, you know, these so-called wildfires or whatever whatever the narrative is at this point out there in Hawaii, man, you know, that they want to build one of these, I'm gonna just say futuristic cities, you know, and they're saying that it's going to take decades, man, to build that up, you know, to basically, you know, replace that and, you know, basically to repair, you know, with these fires, man. They're saying that it's going to take a few decades, and they were saying that, hey, that might be one of those places where they want to, you know, build one of these futuristic, quote unquote, smart cities or whatever they're calling it nowadays, you know. So they're saying that this could have been a direct hit, you know, and believe it or not, you had some similar accounts, I'll say, some similar reports of out there in California, with all those wildfires that's been going on out there for years now. You know, Paradise. You know, ironically, all those wildfires out there. You know, they've been, you know, similar reports of these, you know, basically fire coming down from heaven and This wasn't so-called quote unquote Mother Nature, man. This was man-made, and so on and so forth. You know, so it's all up for speculation. But hey, we can't put anything we can't put anything past these devils, all right? Because they're willing to do anything to accomplish their new world order, and that's just the spirit that the Lord has on these devils. All right, that's just the spirit that the Lord has on these devils, man. He's willing to do any and all things, and that's why I did the video earlier today, man. Like, man, the Lord has to take these devils out, because if not, if the Lord allowed these devils to have their way, hey, he wouldn't stop. He would not stop. All right, he would not stop, man. You know, he'll end up destroying himself, and he's already destroying himself, because Esau, they're getting to a point where it's like, man, what the hell is going on here? They're starting to feel what it feels like to be a nigga. And they don't like that shit. Inside joke, man. They don't like that shit. They don't like that shit. I don't like that shit. They don't like that. Esau, man, and I'm talking about the average patriarch, middle class, above middle class, whatever the case may be, Well, they're starting to feel what it feels like to be a nigga, man. Poor, because especially in these downtown areas, especially downtown Orlando, man, where we go out and teach. Every Saturday, it's almost like, man, the homeless population is growing more and more. Just this past Saturday, me and the head brother Nahoy, man, we stepped off camera, take care of business real quick, and it's like, damn, it's like shit. It's man, this shit, and it's mostly Edomites. That's the point. It's mostly Edomites that you see more and more downtown, in these downtown areas. The homeless population is more and more Edomites you see, man. Because Esau, he's losing. So, and that's why, hey, man, when this shit blows over, because this shit is boiling. At this point, it's boiling. It's boiling. And what do you do when you have a pot that's boiling, man? What happens when when it's already at a boiling temperature, man? That shit spills over. It spills over. And that's what's getting ready to happen. We're at the point where this shit's built is boiling. It's already boiling. Well, this shit is getting ready to spill over, man. 10 times, 100 times over. And that's why we're going to see chaos. We're going to see mass chaos, man. Just, man. Again, that's why we are going to need the spirit of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, because for the most part, who do you think these Edomites, these patriotic Edomites, all right, these Trump Edomites, these Trumpites, I just came up with that, these Trumpites, who do you think these devils are going to take their who do you think they're going to take their frustrations out on, man? Here it is. You just had this whole situation with out there in Montgomery, right? Now you got Jake walking around here with white chairs, thinking they got a victory, and they're still behind. And these dummies don't know that they're still behind enemy lines. But here it is, they're walking around here proud, thinking they did something, thinking they got a victory. And these Edomites, they're seeing that, man. Who do you think they're gonna, it's all a build-up. Who do you think they're gonna take their frustrations out on, man? You Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, But playing on some more.
This was probably the most convincing part of Mike's video. These shots of the rafters show that all of the burning had to have originated from the roof. There is no damage coming from the inside. It is all from the roof down.
And that's the point that I was just, making with some of these. And like I said, I wanted to show some of these videos, but it's just, you can look it up on your own, and you could determine for yourself. But what Linda Thompson is explaining here, with what happened, because this was basically a hit, all right. This particular individual that they were going after, all right. They blamed it on a where they changed the narrative from a lightning strike to a, something happened from within the home. But clearly, all right, if you know how, if you know how this shit works, you know, and me personally, I don't know how this shit works, but from my studies, you know, just looking into it myself, you know, it's just like, oh well, this is clearly, this was clearly a hit, you know, this was clearly a strike, this was clearly an assassination, all right, because like you said, from when you look at everything, all right, clearly there was a point of impact, and from the point of impact, all right, it's clearly going down. It's pointing, you know, it's coming from, it's coming in, as if, you know, just to say it, a missile, you know, some sort of missile came down on the roof, and you know, you pay attention to the structure of, you know, from the point of impact and just the way that the stars and everything is, you know, it's obvious. All right, and I just say all that to say, we've seen a lot of this. You do your research, do your studies. All right, you know, a lot of, you know, from what it appears, this is not definite. I'm not saying this was, you know, for sure this is what happened, but just from my speculation and from, you know, from what I've seen in my speculation out there in Hawaii, the so-called wildfires, you know, because like I said, just, you know, just make it sense. Make it make sense, you know, out there in Hawaii, man. You know, you got all these houses, the ones that are standing at least, and just the way that, like I said, from the metal, from the vehicles, and just the metal, and just the way that everything is burnt, and just how it's all, you have these points of entry, and it's just, everything's just, you know, but yet on the outside you have the grass is all green and everything is just intact. Make it make sense, right? Make it make sense.
If you look at these holes on the roof, these are holes made by the firemen with their axes. Yet over to the right,
Look at that.
there are very clearly missile holes burned from the outside in.
Just look at that.
We've had military...
Now, like I said, because from these, you know, from the videos that have been surfacing, and, you know, it's just crazy, you know, it's crazy. And I'm gonna go ahead and end it off there. You know, I'm gonna stop it there. Like I said, and Lord willing, I remember I'm gonna post this video, you know, in the link description as well. You know, America Under Siege by Linda Thompson. You know, the apostles reference it from time to time. You know, because basically, hey, listen, from everything from the Waco, Texas, you know, all these, the Panama Deception, all these things, they've been beta tests. And like I said, in this particular video alone, you know, Linda Thompson, she goes in. She really goes in on, you know, just as far as the training from the foreign troops, the Gurkha troops, the UN troops. She really goes in. Like I said, you know, it's no coincidence why they definitely offed her, man. They deleted her. You know, because this is something that they've been planning for a long time, and that's the point that, you know, I just want to stress, you know, through the spirit in this video. Like, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and get this real quick, man. I don't want to make this too long. Because, you know, certain things come up, and, you know, a lot of people was like, oh, well, you know, this is new. Oh, you know, it might be like a miracle to some people, but no, man. You know, this is something that what they put out there. You best believe that Esau, he's had this technology 30, 40, 3, 4, 5, even 6 decades. You know, he's been had this shit. This is old news to him. You know, so, I mean, let me get this, man, because we're coming into the time where, like I said, Esau, the so-called white man, he's going to fulfill his blessing. He's going to fulfill his lot, his purpose, he's going to fulfill what the Lord set him up to do, man. You know, Matter of fact, before I get that, I'm gonna get this. Let me get this, man. In Ecclesiasticus, this is in the Apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus, chapter 14, verse 7. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. Because, listen, when it comes to the so-called white man, again, the scriptures say that he was the spirit that is in him is upright. All right, this man, he's deranged, he's delusional. He's really, you talking about mad scientist, right? What a so-called white man, he is truly a real mad scientist, man. This man is crazy for real, you know. He's delusional, you know, to the point where if he does any ounce of good, he's doing it. He's going off. He's being wicked because the Lord created him to be wicked. The wicked. He's the perfect tool of wickedness on the left hand. So if he doeth any type of good, he doeth it unwillingly. He doesn't do it by his own will. All right. Because remember, hey, the Lord is in control of all things, you know, and hey, the Lord said that, hey, to the elect, all right, or to those that, you know, serve you, how about Shema Shine sincerity and in truth? Listen, if we're doing what we're supposed to do, then hey, the Lord will have it to where even our enemies will be at peace with us. You know, and listen, I'll speak personally, all right, personal testimony. You know, I'm about to say that here and there, but hey, listen, there's been several attempts, you know, not attempts, but there's been several times in the past where, listen, I was driving without a license. On top of that, no insurance. On top of that, tags expired. I should have been through. All right, I should have been through. You know, now I take it more serious. But back then, listen, you know, when you're young and, you know, you don't care about none of that. You know, you feel you're invincible. So there has been plenty of times where I was driving without a license or a license suspended, no insurance, and an expired tag. All right, and I got pulled over. I thought I was through. But listen, and this is even before I knew what I knew now. All right, I'm talking about like 20 years ago, man. You know, like, you know, just being reckless, right? And every time when I got pulled over by the cops and I'm talking about, listen, you know, I tell people all the time, I grew up in you know, I was born in the city, but I grew up in the country. All right, and them country boys, man. Listen, them country cops, man. They don't play. All right, I'm talking about them full blown redneck racists. Listen, they don't play. All right, so for sure in my mind, like I'm done. You know, I thought I was through. All right, but every time in those situations, driving with the license suspended, no insurance, and an expired tag. Listen, I'm you know, you're through. But in those, you know, those several times that I was pulled over by the cops, hey, listen, and there was a few times. I'll just say this, man. There was a few times I was driving with you know, driving with some heat, you know, packing. All right, you know, I was driving with all that. On top of that, I was driving packing, wild packer. I was, you know, driving with some heat. And I kid you not, Akim, listen, the Lord was looking out, all right? The Lord was looking out. You know, I've driven past red lights, stop signs. Like I said, I was reckless, all right? And, you know, listen, man, hey, you know, I was in a hole, you know, I was in a rabbit hole, you know, but those few times, man, it's like the Lord was looking out. Because listen, on top of that, you know, I was under the influence, you know, drinking and driving, you know, and a few times I let the cops know, like, listen, on top of all that, you know, hey, I had some shots, You know, listen, I got a firearm. Listen, such and such. I was honest, you know. I was honest, you know. And the cops said, hey, every time, I kid you not, you brothers, man, listen, I kid you not. And I'm not encouraging you brothers in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Listen, go ahead and do this shit. No, you know, because listen, I was in fear. Like, man, I'm done for sure. Like, every time I was like, man, I'm done for sure. But no, man, the Lord looked out. Because every time the Lord, hey, the cops, they just let me off with a warning, bro. Like, you know, I mean, you can't make this shit up. Like, every time I was in these situations, you know, it's just like, you know, the spirit had to where the Lord had it to where the spirit was just like, man, hey, them cops, man, they were just like, man, hey, do better, you know. I'm talking about redneck country folk, you know, patriotic, man. I'm telling you, you know, racist ass Edomites, you know, they were ready to pull the trigger on the nigga, man. Like, but nah, man, the Lord was looking out. Because every time I didn't get a ticket, you know, the most I got was a warning. You know, it's like, hey, don't do the shit again. You know, so it's like, man, you know, and we all have our little testimony, man. We all have our little thing where it's just like, man, the Lord, I know for sure that, man, the Lord is with me, man. We all have our little things. It's like, man, I know the Lord is with me. You know, because I was in that situation several times, more than several times, man. I can, man, listen, you know, I was there several times, you know, and when I say several, I mean at least a dozen times I was in that situation, man. Intoxicated, drunk, no insurance, you know, expired tag, suspend, all that, man. It's just like, man, I was honest with the cops, like, man, you know, I was honest with them, like, man, listen, this is the situation, and they were just like, man, damn, you know. And they were just like, man, hey, listen, don't do this shit again, man. You know, and you could tell it was just like, man, the spirit of the Lord is just like, man, listen, get your shit together, Hawk, you know. But I was there. You know, it was a scary situation, but it's like, man, you know, hey, we all have our situation where it's just like, man, I know for sure. The Lord is like solidifying he was stamping his reputation like, hey, I'm here with you. You know, I'm here. You know, so hey, you know, again, Ecclesiasticus 14 and what was that? Verse 7 again. It says, and if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. Because like I said, man, hey, Esau, hey, man, he's ready to pull the trigger on the nigga, man. He can't wait. You know, they get off on this shit. But if you're doing what you're supposed to do for Yahweh Shem Shai, he's going to have it to where, hey, even your enemies will be at peace with you, man. You know. So with that being said, hey, even if you know you're in a situation and you know Esau ends up coming through for you, hey, he's going off because he's not supposed to do it. He's not supposed to do that. You know, if Esau does some type of good, man, he's going off because that's just not his nature. All right, and you best believe, just speaking as a man, hey, you know, he might perform an act where he looks out for you, but you know, just speaking as a man, it's just like, man, you know, you best believe he goes home at night like, man, I can't believe I let that nigga go, you know, like, you know, because that's his nature. All right, death, blood, murder, you know, he just, you know, he gets off on that shit, right? But nevertheless, when you read on, it says, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. So like I said, hey, we're in a time where Esau, he's going to get his lick back, man. And the Lord's going to allow him. All right, because going back to Genesis, with all that being said, all right, his you know, his technology, everything that he has, listen, he can't wait to unleash. He can't wait to let loose on Jake, man. He can't wait. Like I said, the shit that he puts out there, listen, man, the shit that he puts out there, you best believe that's technology that he's 2, 3, 4 decades old, man. That's old news to him, you know. flying cars, Man, he's been had that shit. That's nothing to Esau, you know. And we see by these, like I said, some of us have been reporting on these direct energy weapons, right? Or the past couple of years, man, that's old news to Esau, man. He's been had that shit, man. So you best believe, listen, Esau, don't be worried about the shit that Esau, what he puts out there. You be worried about the shit that he doesn't put out there, man. Because listen, we know about the camouflage suits, the invisible cloaks and all the direct energy. Man, we know about the they got guns they can see through walls and man, we know about that stuff. It's the shit that we don't know about, man. you know, it's the shit. It's the shit that we don't know about. We have no clue about, man. Listen. Let me get this, man, in Genesis. Because we're coming into the time now where, as I just went into Rock, man, 14, listen. In the end, he shall declare his wickedness. You see, in the end, he's going to let it all out there, man. He's going to, Esau, he's not going to hold back. You see, right now, he's holding back because, as I always say, Esau, he's like you ever have a pit bull on the leash, right? And he just can't wait, he's just waiting on the master to just, let the chain go, like master, well, that's Esau, he's just waiting on the Heavenly Father to let him off that chain, man, to let him loose, you see? And, listen, when the Lord lets this devil off the leash, man, when the Lord lets this pit bull off the leash, man, it's a wrap, right? But I'm going to get this, Salaki, I'm still looking for it. Still looking for it. Bear with me. I know it's in Genesis. Because Esau, man, he never fulfilled this. He never fulfilled this. But we're in the time now where he's about to fulfill it. Because when you read in his history, going back to Genesis, and that's why I'm trying to look through it. Because when Jacob, our forefather, supplanted Esau, Esau, he was mad as hell, right? So yeah, the Wadi al-Bashim Shah in Genesis 27. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 38. Genesis 27 and 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Because, not only did Jacob supplant Esau, which, the name Jacob in itself, Yaquab, that is definitely a characteristic of Jacob. They know how to supplant, man. But not only did Jacob supplant Esau once, but twice. All right. Verse 39, it says, And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. And this is how this applies to Esau. All right, because no other nation, I'll say this. It was only prophesied of two nations of people conquering the entire earth. All right. And one of those two nations of people would be Esau. Because as it stands right now, this doesn't apply to Japheth. All right. Esau, as of right now, as it stands, he occupies the whole earth. There's embassies and military bases all over the earth. Listen, Esau, he has the fatness of the earth. He has it all. All right. He controls the whole earth. You see? And, in the time to come, Jacob is going to inherit the earth. But as of right now, according to prophecy, it was only prophesied that two nation of people would occupy the whole earth. And as of right now, Esau, he fits this prophecy, man. He fits the description. You see? It says, verse 40, it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. So you see, because this is something that Esau never fulfilled, because Isaac, for those that have ears to hear, Isaac was a Yahushua, and as we talk about from time to time, man, hey, listen, the only one that's going to be able to take this blessing from Isaac, Slakia, the only one that's going to be able to take this blessing from Esau is the one that gave it to him. All right, and who gave Isaac, or Slakia, who gave Esau the blessing? Isaac, which was Yahushua. You see? So, because like I said here, hey, by that sword shalt thou live, but, to show you how cold the Lord is, hey, Yahushua never told Esau, or Isaac never told Esau that, hey, you're going to die by the sword, because he told that to his disciples, hey, for he that liveth by the sword shall die by the sword. But he didn't say that here. He just said that, hey, by that sword shall thou live. But he didn't tell Esau that, hey, you're going to die by the sword too. But nevertheless, like I said in verse 41, again it says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And he said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother. So that's the point of this whole lesson, all right? Because like I said, when you go on to the later chapters, Jacob, he was scared, because, hey, listen, Esau, he was coming after Jacob, man. But or Salakia, like I said here, Esau hated Jacob. All right, Esau hated Jacob. But when you go into it in the later chapters, because Jacob was afraid, but when it came time for Jacob and Esau to reunite, hey, for the most part, it was all love. It was all love. So this was never fulfilled. As far as the fulfillment of, hey, Esau coming after Jacob, man, getting his lick back, getting his vengeance out on Jacob. This was never fulfilled. Well, listen, we're coming into that time where this is going to be fulfilled. That's why I read that in Ecclesiasticus, man. Because like I said, hey, in the end, he shall declare his wickedness. Hey, because it's, we're so far along in prophecy, man. We're just so far ahead. Hey, Revelation 12:12, the devil shall come down with great wrath. All right. 2 Ezra 16, the wrath of a burning multitude, it kindleth, roughly paraphrasing, man. Hey, Esau, he's getting ready. We're coming into that time now where Esau is going to fulfill this prophecy, all right, this promise. We're coming into that time now. You see, because, hey, when, with these direct energy weapons and, man, listen, Esau, he's got shit that we don't know about, man. Esau, he's got shit that we've never seen before. And some of the shit that he's put out there, we've never seen before. In live action, at least. Like some of these, like with the direct energy weapon, we've seen clips, here or there, and it's questionable, like, well, hey, that could be anything. But hey, in the end, it's gonna be made known, like, oh shit, like, yeah, this is definitely him. This is that man of sin. This is the so-called white man for sure. This is without a shadow of a doubt, man. Hey, we're gonna see it, man. Like I said, Esau, the so-called white man, he's got shit that we don't know about, man. And It's scary, but at the same time, it's not, because hey, we know. Listen, you hear certain of us talk so firmly the way that we do. Like, man, come on with it, man. Just do what the fuck you got to do. Come on with it. Because we know, pursuant to Isaiah 59:19. All right, when that floodgates of hell open up, roughly paraphrasing. All right, when Esau makes his move, when the so-called white man makes his move, hey, listen, Yahweh Shemal Shai. All right, because at the end of the day, he's in control of all this. All right, he's going to make his move. When the left hand makes his move, the Lord is going to exalt the right hand. And with that being said, hey, man, once Esau crosses that boundary, once he crosses that line, ain't no going back. This is when, the spiritual power, all right, brothers are going to be getting that spiritual power, that standard is going to be lifted. So we've got nothing to worry about, man. Don't worry about it. It's easier said than done, but don't worry about it. The Lord has got our back, man. So we can't wait for this shit to pop off, man. We can't wait. So hey, Lord wanted this edifying call, Haloim like Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And double honor to the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you. Hopefully elect until the next one. Shalom.